ब्रेकियल प्लेक्सस के बारे में बात करेंगे तो ब्रेकियल प्लेक्सस वो होता है, ब्रेकियल प्लेक्सस द प्लेक्सस ऑफ नर्व formed by the anterior means ventral rami of lower fourth cervical and first thoracic spinal nerves with little contribution from the C4 and C2. So basically we are talking about the brachial plexus. So brachial plexus is formed by the anterior ventral rami of lower fours means C5, C6, C7, C8. Okay, lower four cervical spinal nerves. Okay, and first thoracic and first thoracic spinal nerves means it also includes T1. So these are what? These we can say these are the roots of the brachial plexus. So basically brachial plexus has four components. First is five components generally. First is first is root. First is root. Second is what? Second is trunk. Here you can appreciate in the given diagram. Trunks. Next is division, and next is cord, and last is nerves. So these are the divisions. ठीक है, ये क्या है, एक तरह का पूरा एक तरह का कंपोनेंट है. ठीक है. So basically first form is root, next is trunk, and next is division, next is cord, next is nerves. So now I am going to draw the brachial plexus so you can appreciate here. Basically roots is found by the C5, C6, C7, C8 and T1. We all know that. Okay. Now from the roots, what we can here appreciate here, from the roots, what is root? Root क्या है? It is the constituent of the anterior primary rami of the C5 to T1 spinal nerves. So basically spinal nerve जो निकल रहा है spinal cord से उसका constituent है. तो कौन कौन सा spinal nerve, और ये basically कहाँ located होता है? Neck. It is located in between the neck and between the scalenus anterior and scalenus medius muscle जो होता है, जो vertebral column पे होता है. ठीक है. तो वो रूट्स कौन बनाता है? रूट्स फॉर्म द एंटीरियर प्राइमरी रेमाई ऑफ C5 to C1 spinal nerves. Roots are formed by the anterior primary rami of C5 and C1. So primary rami of C5, this is the primary rami of C5. ठीक है. This is the primary rami of C6, this is the primary rami of C7, this is the primary rami of C8, and this is primary rami of T1. Okay. So this is the part. Now primary rami of C5 and C6, the roots from the C5 and C6 combines and forms the trunk, and this trunk is known as upper trunk. Okay. Now C7, primary rami of C7 continues forward and form the middle trunk. Middle trunk. Understand? Now C8 and C8 and T1 joins to form lower trunk. Joins to form lower trunk. Understand? Now अब you can see here what we can see. Now अब next, अब ये क्या बन गया यहाँ पर में सबसे पहले क्या बना? सबसे पहले तो यहाँ पर रूट था. ठीक है. रूट के बाद क्या बना? ट्रंक. ठीक है. इसको ऐसे याद कर सकते हैं RTDA. ठीक है. RTDC एंड RTDCN. ठीक है. इस तरह से हम लोग चलेंगे. तो आर, अब टी आया, ट्रंक. नेक्स्ट. नाउ ट्रंक अब क्या होता है? डिवाइड हो जाता है दो में, एक डोर्सल डिवीजन, एक वेंट्रल डिवीजन. ठीक है. तो अब हम लोग डिवीजन देखते हैं. ये हो गया डिवीजन. अब ये डिवाइड हो जाता है डोर्सल डिवीजन एंड वेंट्रल डिवीजन. कहाँ डिवाइड होता है ये डोर्सल डिवीजन और वेंट्रल डिवीजन में डिवाइड होता है. नाउ upper trunk divides into the dorsal division and ventral division. It is also divided into dorsal and ventral division, and it is also divided into dorsal and ventral division. We mark the ventral division with another color. So this is the ventral division and this is the dorsal division. Okay, this is the dorsal division. Understand? So see what we can see. सो अपर ट्रंक जो आ रहा है उसका उसका रूट वैल्यू क्या लिख सकते हैं हम लोग, C5 और C5 C6, ठीक है। और मिडिल ट्रंक का रूट वैल्यू क्या होगा, C7। एंड सेम फॉर लोअर ट्रंक, व्हाट इज द रूट वैल्यू, C8 and T1, C8 and T1, understand? So this now next is division. There are two division, dorsal division and ventral division. Upper is dorsal division, lower is ventral division. I am showing here the layman diagram of the brachial plexus. So don't be confused of the जो important diagram है, जो main diagram book में दिया हुआ है उससे, ये याद करने के लिए, ठीक है। चलो समझ में इससे आसानी से आता है, ठीक है ना। नाउ वेंट्रल डिवीजन, वेंट्रल डिवीजन, अब देखो, अब यहाँ पर मैं कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट चीज बता रहा हूँ, इसको ध्यान से देखना, ठीक है। अब जो डोर्सल डिवीजन है, अब क्या होता है, अब हम लोग को क्या बनाना है, कॉर्ड का फॉर्मेशन करना है, ठीक है। अब हमें क्या बनाना है, कॉर्ड का फॉर्मेशन करना है। नाउ वी आर गोइंग टू फॉर्म द कॉर्ड। तो बेसिकली देयर आर थ्री कॉर्ड, पोस्टीरियर कॉर्ड, लेटरल कॉर्ड एंड मीडियल कॉर्ड। अब पोस्टीरियर कॉर्ड कैसे बनता है, हाउ पोस्टीरियर कॉर्ड इज फॉर्म्ड। सो वन ब्रांच फ्रॉम द डोर्सल डिवीजन, वन फ्रॉम द डोर्सल डिवीजन, ये डोर्सल डिवीजन था हमारा, ठीक है, ये डोर्सल डिवीजन था। अब ये डोर्सल डिवीजन आगे जाके कंटिन्यू करता है, ठीक है, ये डोर्सल डिवीजन आ गया, इसका ये डोर्सल डिवीजन है, ठीक है। तो डोर्सल डिवीजन तीनों का, लोअर ट्रंक का डोर्सल डिवीजन फ्रॉम अपर ट्रंक, मिडिल ट्रंक एंड लोअर ट्रंक, अपर ट्रंक, मिडिल ट्रंक एंड लोअर ट्रंक, ठीक है, अपर ट्रंक, मिडिल ट्रंक एंड लोअर ट्रंक forms the posterior cord, forms the what, posterior cord, forms what, posterior cord. Okay, this forms the posterior cord. So you can appreciate here like that, understand, forms the posterior cord. Now तो ये क्या बना, posterior cord. Okay, what is the root value of posterior cord, C5 to T1, C5 to T1 whole root value. Okay, so C5 to T1. Now अब पोस्टीरियर कॉर्ड बन गया, अब लैटरल कॉर्ड बनेगा। अब लैटरल कॉर्ड कहां से आएगा, देखना, लैटरल कॉर्ड कम्स फ्रॉम द वेंट्रल डिवीजन ऑफ अपर ट्रंक एंड मिडिल ट्रंक। नाउ वेंट्रल डिवीजन ऑफ अपर ट्रंक एंड मिडिल ट्रंक फॉर्म्स द व्हाट, लैटरल कॉर्ड, फॉर्म्स व्हाट, लैटरल कॉर्ड। Okay, forms the what, lateral cord. And what is the root value here, C5 C6 C7. Basically middle trunk and upper trunk constitute the what, which root value, C5 C6 C7. तो root value क्या हो जाएगा, C5 to C7. Understand this. Now what, one more thing here is ventral division of lower trunk forms the medial cord, forms the what, medial cord. Okay, this forms the medial cord. Now अब कॉर्ड क्या देगा, नर्व्स या फिर ब्रांचेस। अब क्या देगा, कॉर्ड अपना एक नर्व्स देगा। नाउ वी आर गोइंग टू फॉर्म द ब्रांचेस। अब क्या क्या ब्रांचेस बनेगा, branches basically nerves. Okay, I will show the whole picture of that, whatever I am going to draw in a one slide. Just focus on that slide, I will show on the last. Okay, now from the root, from the root, अब now अब जो होता है ना ब्रांचेस देखते हैं, तो सबसे पहले हम लोग कॉर्ड से ब्रांचेस देख लेते हैं। उसके बाद some of the branches may come from the roots and directly comes from the root and directly comes from the trunk also, we will see in the last. Now first we will focus on the branches from the cords. So cord से क्या क्या ब्रांचेस निकलेगा, पोस्टीरियर कॉर्ड से ब्रांच जो निकलता है उसको याद कैसे रख सकते हैं, ठीक है। पोस्टीरियर कॉर्ड का ब्रांचेस को याद कर सकते हैं स्टार से, क्या याद कर सकते हैं इसको, स्टार से, ठीक है, Star. What denotes the star? Star. S for upper and lower scapular nerve. Scapular nerve. Upper and lower scapular nerve. I am not going to write clearly here. I already have written clearly in another slide. I will show you in the last. But what I am saying, please focus. Because if you focus, then you will remember for more time. Okay. So star. Now T represents for thoracodorsal nerve. T represents for thoracodorsal nerve. A represents for axillary nerve. Okay, and R represents for radial nerve. Understand? R represents for radial nerve. Now, what is lateral cord branches? What are the branches of from the lateral cord? We can here learn from that LML. L represents for lateral pectoral nerve. Lateral pectoral nerve. M represents for musculocutaneous nerve. Musculocutaneous nerve, and L represents for lateral root of median nerve. Okay, lateral root of median nerve. And last, median cord. मीडियन कॉर्ड, मीडियल कॉर्ड से क्या क्या आएगा, सबके नाम में मीडियल होगा, ठीक है, सबके नाम में मीडियल होगा, तो इसको याद करने का ट्रिक ये है, एम फॉर यू, एम फॉर यू, ओके, एम फॉर यू. So first M is denoted for medial pectoral nerve. Medial pectoral nerve. Medial pectoral nerve and medial cutaneous nerve of thigh. Medial. Medial cutaneous nerve of thigh. Medial cutaneous nerve of thigh. Medial cutaneous nerve of forearm. Sorry, arm. My mistake. Arm. That next one is for forearm, and next one is the median root of the median nerve. This is the lateral root of the median nerve, comes from the lateral cord, and the medial root of the medial root the median nerve comes from what? Comes from the medial cord. Now next is ulnar nerve. Ulnar nerve comes from the median cord. So M for you, we can learn like that, M for you, and posterior cord we can learn from the star, and lateral cord, but we can here learn LML. Lateral pectoral nerve, musculocutaneous nerve, and lateral part of the lateral root of the median nerve. Okay. Now one more branch. This is the branch, not trunk. This is the branch. This is the branch, not division. Because from the trunk we got division. Okay, so basically this is not a division. This is a branch from the trunk. One goes to the suprascapular nerve, and one goes to the downward and forms the nerve to subclavius. Nerve to subclavius. ठीक है, nerve to subclavius. One more nerve, long thoracic nerve. Long thoracic nerve comes from where? Long thoracic nerve comes from the C5, root of the C5 and middle trunk. Root of the C5 and middle trunk, and forms the long long thoracic nerve. Okay, long thoracic nerve. Understand? So these are the branches. These are the branches, and all have supply to the, basically all the nerves here supply to the muscles of the arm and forearm and hand. Understand? These are the branches. So what we can see here, what we can see here now, देखो अब ये C5 है, C6 से आया, C5 और C6 से आया कौन सा, C5 और C6 से कौन सा आया, ज्वाइन करके बनाया कौन सा ट्रंक, इट फॉर्म्स द अपर ट्रंक. Okay, it forms the upper trunk, and C7 alone, I am going to use another highlighter. See, C7 forms the middle trunk and C8 and T1 joins to form the lower trunk. Okay, now see here. Lower trunk. First of all, I am going to say about the lower trunk. Lower trunk has dorsal division and ventral division. You can see here dorsal division and ventral division. Ventral division alone forms the medial cord. See here you can see ventral. This is the ventral division. Ventral division forms alone can forms the medial cord. Understand? Medial cord, and further they give the many branches. You can see here M for U. M for U means medial pectoral nerve, medial cutaneous nerve of the eye, median cutaneous nerve of forearm, median root of the median nerve, median root of the median nerve. Okay, so here it goes the medial root of the median nerve. And one more thing here, what you can appreciate here, lateral root of the median nerve joins to form here the median nerve. So median nerve का origin क्या क्या है? एक तो lateral cord है और क्या है? एक तो क्या बोल सकते हैं मीडियल कॉर्ड है कि लैटरल कॉर्ड. ठीक है. Understand? Now I am going to erase all this stuff here. So let's see here. Now now focus on the medial trunk, middle trunk. Now focus on the middle trunk. So this is the middle trunk. I am going to erase. This is the middle trunk. Now middle trunk divides into the dorsal branches and ventral branches. ठीक है. Dorsal branches and ventral branches. Understand? Dorsal branches and ventral branches. Now ventral branches of ventral branches from the upper and middle trunk. Upper and middle trunk. Ventral branches from the upper and middle trunk forms the lateral cord. Forms the lateral cord. तो ventral branches from the ventral branches देखो ये ventral branches किससे आ रहा है? This ventral branches comes from upper trunk, and this ventral branches comes from the middle trunk and forms the what? Lateral cord, and forms the lateral cord. Understand? Now next here, see. Now we are going to form about talk about posterior cord. Posterior cord is formed between the dorsal branches of all the three trunk: upper trunk, middle trunk, and lower trunk. Dorsal branches. Posterior cord is formed between the all the dorsal divisions of all the trunks. So basically this is a trunk. Okay, here dorsal division. Find which is the dorsal division. This is the dorsal division. This is the dorsal division. Understand? And this dorsal division forms the what? Which cord? Posterior cord. Sorry, this is not what. This is dorsal cord. Okay, this is dorsal cord, and here also lower trunk. लोअर ट्रंक का डॉर्सल कॉर्ड. ठीक है, ये डॉर्सल कॉर्ड. तो ये सारा बनाता है क्या यहाँ पर में पोस्टीरियर कॉर्ड. ठीक है, तो ये आया यहाँ से देखो, ये आया अपर ट्रंक से डॉर्सल डिवीजन, ये आया मिडिल ट्रंक से डॉर्सल डिवीजन, ये आया लोअर ट्रंक से डॉर्सल डिवीजन. ठीक है, तो ये आया, ये लोअर ट्रंक से डॉर्सल डिवीजन आया और फॉर्म कर दिया क्या? कॉर्ड का फॉर्मेशन कर दिया. कौन सा कॉर्ड? पोस्टीरियर कॉर्ड. ठीक है, तो अब हम लोग ऐसे डायरेक्ट बना सकते हैं कि C5 हो गया, C5, C6, C7. ओ सॉरी, अब डिवीजन करते हैं. C5, C6, C7, C8 एंड T1. इसका कितना है? इसका एक रूट है. ये भी ए रूट, ये भी रूट, ये भी रूट, ये भी रूट. नाउ अब देखो, अभी ये दोनों का रूट कंबाइन करके क्या बनाया? ट्रंक. ये अकेला ट्रंक आगे बना दिया, ये हो गया अपर ट्रंक, ये हो गया मिडिल ट्रंक, और ये हो गया, ये दोनों कंबाइन करके क्या बनाया? C8 और T1 कंबाइन करा करके क्या बनाया? लोअर ट्रंक. Now, upper trunk divides into the dorsal division and ventral division. Upper trunks divide, all the trunks are divided into dorsal division and ventral division. Dorsal division of upper trunk, middle trunk, and lower trunk forms the posterior cord. Okay, forms the posterior cord. This is the division. Dorsal division. This is ventral division. Dorsal division, ventral division. Dorsal division, ventral division. Understand? Now, ventral division of upper and middle trunk. Ventral division of upper and middle trunk combines. Not here combines. These are going forward. This is a division. Combines and forms the what? combines and forms the lateral cord. Understand? And ventral division alone can forms the medial cord. Now see the branches of the cord. What are the branches? Upper scapular nerve, I say the star. Upper and lower scapular nerve, T for thoracodorsal nerve, A for axillary nerve, R for radial nerve. Lateral cord for what? Lateral pectoral nerve, musculocutaneous nerve, musculocutaneous nerve, lateral cord of the lateral root of the median nerve. Now medial cord is formed by the now medial cord forms what? Which branches? M for you, medial. All the name of the nerves come suggest are the medial. First of all, we can see what we can appreciate. All the nerves have medial. The medial pectoral nerve, medial cutaneous nerve of arm, medial cutaneous nerve of forearm, medial root of the median nerve, and ulnar nerve. And lateral root of the from the lateral cords and lateral root of the median nerve joins to forms the median nerve. Understand? So this is the brachial plexus. Very simplified way. Understand? So you can take the screenshot, and also you can take the this screenshot. This is the main thing I have shared. Understand? So you can draw this. Now I am going to share your slide, some of the slide that you can write down. You can also write down. You can also write down. Okay, I am going to erase. So if you have Visram Singh, you can go through this diagram. You can go through this diagram if you have Visram Singh or you have PDF of Visram Singh. This is the always follow the Visram Singh images for the study purpose. It will be easy for you. Now here, see, plexus is the nerve of the form between the ventral rami of the lower four cervical trunk and first thoracic nerve. Spinal nerves with little contribution may be come from the C4 and C4 to T2. Sorry, C4 to T2. Okay, C4 to T2 तक भी कंट्रीब्यूशन आ सकता है, लिटिल कंट्रीब्यूशन आता है. ठीक है. प्रीफिक्स्ड प्लेक्सस, पोस्टेड प्लेक्सस, कंट्रीब्यूशन अगर C4 का ज्यादा होता है तो प्रीफिक्स्ड प्लेक्सस बोल सकते हैं, और T1 का कंट्रीब्यूशन कम है, T2 का ओपन एब्सेंट होता है तो. ठीक है. अगर पोस्टफिक्स्ड प्लेक्सस व्हाट इज if the contribution by the T1 is large, basically you can say that C4 to T1. ठीक है. C4 to T1. तो अगर कंट्रीब्यूशन T1 का ज्यादा है तो पोस्टफिक्स्ड, कंट्रीब्यूशन C4 का ज्यादा है तो प्रीफिक्स्ड प्लेक्सस. नाउ components, roots, trunks, division, cords and nerves. All I have shared. Basically you can see here roots are mostly located in the neck region and divisions are located behind the clavicle, and what we can here appreciate, cords are located in the axilla. Next is root. Root constitutes the anterior primary rami of the C5 and T1. Trunks 3 in number, upper trunks, middle trunks and lower trunks. But we can see, if you have remember the diagram, then you will not, then you don't have to remember like all these theory stuffs. Understand? So basically division is formed. Each trunk divides into anterior and posterior division. Each trunk divides into anterior and posterior division. I already said. Trunks has 3: posterior cord, lateral cord and medial cord. You can say medial cord. Okay. Ventral division of the lower trunk. Now see here branches from the root से क्या क्या ब्रांच आता है? सेरेटस एंटीरियर नर्व टू सेरेटस है, लॉन्ग थोरेसिक नर्व जो मैंने बताया था, ये लॉन्ग थोरेसिक नर्व जो यहाँ आ रहा है. ठीक है. ये जो लॉन्ग थोरेसिक नर्व आ रहा था, है ना, लॉन्ग थोरेसिक नर्व C5 C6 C7, इसका रूट वैल्यू क्या है? C5 C6 C7, क्योंकि कौन कौन सा आ रहा था? मिडिल ट्रंक से आ रहा था, और किन से आ रहा था? मिडिल ट्रंक से आ रहा था और अपर ट्रंक से आ रहा था. तो मिडिल ट्रंक का C5 C6 और C7. ठीक है. अंडरस्टैंड? nerve to the rhomboid, dorsal scapular nerve C5, only C5, not dorsal scapular nerve. Here what you can see here, dorsal scapular nerve या nerve to subclavius, nerve to rhomboids, it comes from only C5. Understand? From the trunk, arises from the upper trunk suprascapular nerve and nerve to subclavius. तो अगर C5 और C6, इसका क्या हो जाएगा? C5 और C6 arises from the upper trunk. ये हो गया upper trunk, तो ये suprascapular nerve दिया और nerve to subclavius दे रहा. तो किससे आ रहा है, C5 और C6 से आ रहा है, तो इसका रूट वैल्यू क्या होगा, व्हाट इज द रूट वैल्यू, C5 and C6 is the root value. Understand? Next, from the cord, lateral cord, we already have shared the lateral cord which nerves here arises. Basically, you have to remember in the nerve of the muscles of the front arm, which is the musculocutaneous nerve of the muscles of the supply the nerves muscles to the front of arms. Okay, now lateral pectoral nerve, name suggests which वो किसको सप्लाई करेगा, pectoralis major, and it also supplies the pectoralis minor. Median pectoral nerve also supplies the pectoralis minor and pectoralis major. Okay, medial cutaneous nerve of arm supplies the sensory supply to the medial side of the arm. Medial cutaneous nerve of supply sensory supply to the medial side of the forearm. Here you can see the appreciate, you can see here what root value C8 and T1, C8 T1, C8 T1, medial cord formed by which, see here, medial cord, medial cord formed by the C8 and C8 and T1. ठीक है, तो इसलिए जितना भी सबका रूट वैल्यू क्या आएगा, C8 और T1. ठीक है ना, चलो C8 and T1 एक्सेप्ट अल्नर नर्व, अल्नर नर्व का एक और आ जाता है C7, अल्नर नर्व का क्या आता है C7, बाकी सबका C8 और T1. ठीक है, मीडियल रूट ऑफ द मीडियन नर्व जॉइंस एंड ग्रेट डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन विद द ब्रांच ऑफ द मीडियन नर्व. ठीक है, ये मीडियन नर्व का फॉर्मेशन करता है. अल्नर नर्व, नर्व ऑफ 1.5 मसल ऑफ द फोरआर्म एंड 15 इंट्रिंसिक मसल को ये सप्लाई करता है. ठीक है, next, from the posterior cord, it supplies to the large multipinnate subscapularis muscle. It supplies to the subscapular. Lower upper subscapular supplies the subscapularis muscle and help the subscapularis muscle supplying the subscapularis. Also supply the lower subscapular, also supply the subscapularis. But most important thing is also supply the teres major muscle. Teres major muscle is supplied by lower subscapular nerve. Thoracodorsal nerve C6, C7, C8. Now here we can see that C5 and C6 root value is for all, but thoracodorsal nerve has C7 and C8 external. It don't have C5. Okay, then it's supplied to the axillary nerve, that is supplied to deltoid muscle and teres minor. Teres major is supplied by lower scapular nerve, lower subscapular nerve, and teres major is teres major is supplied by the lower thoracodorsal nerve. ठीक है, सॉरी लोअर सबस्क्यूलर. thoracodorsal nerve supplies the latissimus dorsi. बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है ये सब. ठीक है, radial nerve supplies the thickest branch of the brachial plexus. Next, so this is the diagram, here you can see. So these are all about the brachial plexus. I hope you understand well, and please subscribe the channel and don't and please subscribe the channel. I hope you like the video. Thank you so much. We will see in the next video. Have a nice day.